Hello, hello, hello. Wow, it's already November. It's about time we do another predictions thing, so let's get right on into it. 1921 is a no-go. I mean, I'm not too surprised. She's a very rare engine, and I frankly don't know if they will intend on using her. I mean, I know they did acquire her, which is why I was confident on it, but since they didn't bother to run her at all, I'm not at all confident anymore that to do it next year. I don't really see why they would. But, I mean, there's always room for surprises. And speaking of surprises, or wait, no, sorry, that'll come later. Wikwas dropped the name. It's not Wikwas anymore. I don't know what it is actually, but it hasn't debuted yet, I think. But I, if I'm willing to bet, it could debut on one of the Christmas trains coming up this year. But if not, I'm probably going to say it'll come out next year. So, yeah. And, oh yeah, this was a big surprise. 302 ran a lot more than she did yet last year. I know initially I predicted that she'd run more, but I wasn't confident on it. But hey, she actually ran a lot more. So I think with their given circumstances, they'll probably stick to bike week trains as well as foliage trains, because I think she will be running in the foliage with, for anyone who doesn't know, they can't do runarounds anymore, so I think they'll get 302 on, because they don't like running these ginormous Jeeps on the Lincoln line due to sharper turns and whatnot, and the sheer heaviness of it, so I'm gonna bet on it doing foliage stuff along with another switcher, and then they'll have another switcher on the local. Also, they don't like shoving, so yeah, that's why I mentioned 302. But I think you'll do what it did this year for a good chunk worth with it going northbound, and then having the other switcher go southbound. So I will bet on that happening again this year. Yeah, here's the surprise. 1186 actually ran. Yeah, I was not expecting that in the least. I mean, I said there was a very slim chance, but I didn't actually think that chance would come to fruition. It operated because 1590 broke down, and they wanted an extra backup locomotive for the foliage trains, and also it was a way to make sure they didn't have to shove. So yeah, they'd rather run 1186 than shove on the foliage to give people an idea of how awful shoving is for the crew guys in the foliage route. It's because they don't get breaks and they're in constant communication for anyone who's wondering, but yeah, I think without that out of the way, I think we'll see 1186 come back maybe next year. I don't know. I'm a bit more confident on her returning next year than I was last year, but it's still not 100% because after all, it is an Alco. And not only that, one of their most obscure engines. So, I don't know. It could come back. It could not. Who knows? I'm not confident on it, but I'd be happy to see her come back. And here's the other Alco they have, number 958. I'm honestly less confident about it. I've heard some stuff about its condition. I mean, I'm not going to go into it because I think it's just rumors, but I've heard she's not in the best of shape. So I think they'd prefer to run 1186. Yeah, I think we could see her again in the following years, but it probably won't be as much as 1186. So, yeah. Also, 1590. Oh, God, what a year she had. If you see in the bottom right corner, she hit a truck. Yeah, I was there for that. It was insane, but yeah, she did hit a truck. And then on the bottom left, the really clear image, she derailed. Yeah, you can't really see it there because it's kind of hard to see, but she derailed. So she's had terrible luck in Winnipesaukee. Also, she was the one that broke down a lot. Was with 302 on the foliage. So I think they'll probably keep her in Lincoln to maintain her. Maybe keep her as a backup because she's had a really rough year last year. Or if not, then maybe they'll send it up to Winnipesaukee. I think they like their not as good engines in Winnipesaukee, but I know that was the logic under the Clarks. I don't know how it is with Patriot, but I think if I'm willing to bet, they'll probably keep it in Lincoln to keep her as a backup, like what 105 did for a majority of this year, other than like the last half of the Winnipesaukee operations as well as the Mass Bay stuff. So yeah, there's that. And then 10-12, I think she's gonna stay as the Lincoln main. I heard she's done pretty good this year, not perfect, but pretty good. And they ran her in Lincoln because of some maintenance stuff. So I think they'll keep her there. I think she's done a pretty good job from what I've heard. But yeah, I think it'll basically be a repeat of what happened this year. That is what I'm betting on. And then here's someone I forgot about, 105. I didn't make any bets on her last year, and ultimately what happened was, as I said earlier, it ran the Mass Bay excursion and also did a bunch of stuff in Winnipesaukee during the last half of operation. Also did the end of the year equipment move with 1186 and a bunch of equipment, because 1186 went to Winnipesaukee to cover for 1590. I think I said that already, but I just want to make sure I was clear. So I think we're going to be seeing her as the main for Winnipesaukee. She's done better than 1590, so I wouldn't be shocked if she does more stuff than 1590 next year. But yeah, that'll be my bet. And then Conway. There's not many bets I can make. I think they are going to run every single engine every single year, except for 7470, because that steam engine is in terrible shape, it looks like. But outside of the obvious, I think we'll see more of 1741 in the bottom left, and I'm going to try to catch it leading, because I was unable to make it to the fall 470 Club excursion that happens annually due to work reasons. I was very upset about that, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And we'll try to get her next year, though. And same with 216. I had multiple opportunities, but wasn't too interested, to be honest. But I think I'll be able to get her maybe later in the year, because I think I am going to see the last foliage train of the year, which is the 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. So, well, the last normally scheduled foliage. They're doing some other ones during the winter, surprisingly, but I'll get the last foliage train that's normally scheduled. That's on the 23rd. So maybe 216 will be running that. Yes, it is 216, not 216. I don't know what I'm saying. It's 216. And yeah, also on the bottom right, I actually got around to seeing 573. I've wanted to hear her M5 for a good while. It was a really good horn. I don't think it was like completely perfect. It's missing like a sweet texture to it that normally M5s have, but outside of that, I think it's really good. I applaud Corey for such a good job on that thing, but I also mainly use that image because the Flying Yankee is going to be preparing for operation sometime in like 2026 or 2027, if I'm not mistaken. So I will try my best to get footage of her just around the yard or whatnot, or wherever she lies. But again, that's try. I know they're going to make a new facility for her so they can work on her there, but I don't know if I'll be able to see her from there. If I can't, then I won't, but if I can, I absolutely will. Also, I'm checking out some new railroads. Saratoga, Corinth, and Hudson, and Battenkill are the goals. Battenkill, I know my chances are extremely low because that's hours away from me, and it's a short line railroad that is freight. So if you know anything about New England Southern, that is really obscure. And Battenkill is a similar way, so I'm not very confident, but I'm going to try. As for Saratoga, Corinth, and Hudson, however, they're a scenic railroad. You can basically guarantee days they'll run, and I'll make sure I'll schedule a time to get out there and chase her. It's like 3-4 hours away from me, so I'm gonna have to make a whole day of it because it's gonna be a brutal drive. But I will get content for it, and that'll be at least the once a year Alco content check. Because 2023 I did 958, 2024 was 1186, and I think 2025 will be one of these guys. And probably we'll see him again in future years. I'm probably going to keep trying to go further and further as I do more rail fanning stuff. And yeah, I'm not exactly confident where I'm going to go next year that's new, but I do know I'm going to try for at least these two. Also, here's a bit of a surprise. I'm breaking free from just rail fanning. That's why I ultimately rebranded, but yeah, I want to do other stuff. Like on the far right, that's analog horror. I want to try analog horror. I'm not going to give any ideas, but I have a pretty good one that I want to do, and I'm pretty excited to get that out there. I'm going to have to learn how to do it, though, and it's going to take me a long time to actually get it out, but it'll be a couple part series that I'll probably release once every other week or once a week, depending on the time of year it is. But yeah, also on the bottom left, if anyone's confused, that's a plane. I'm going to be doing plane spotting, especially at Pease Air Force Base, or however you say it. It's nearby UNH. It's got a lot of cool military planes and even Antonovs, which is very surprising to me. So I'm going to get out there, get some plane spotting done. So yeah, that's really about it on my behalf. We still got a bit of a season to go. I'm still have to get all the Christmas and snow stuff, but I don't think there'll be anything notable to talk about. Maybe we see Wikwas get her debut, but that's really about it. I'm probably going to see 1751 again, and probably see stuff I've already seen before, so it is not really a big deal this time of year, but ultimately this is the stuff I have in mind for next year, so hopefully I'll get around to seeing what happens. See you on the flip side.